Европе, плотная, вот им понравилось то, что они там были одни. Но я не об этом. Что нам делать? Потому что я говорил, что у вас 100 лет, у нас 20, просто, может быть, не очень долго. То есть картина такая не очень оптимистичная была нарисована в докладе. И что делать, допустим, тем же мы бываем и во Франции, и в Австрии, вот эти курорты, которые Кармен показывала, знакомы. Что делать? Ну что, какие советы вы даете французским, европейским курортам? И как вы думаете, тоже Сочи или другие курорты, которых у нас 200 в России, на что обратить внимание? Ну, то есть, вот как бороться с теми проблемами, которые, в принципе, нас тоже ждут?
Okay, first of all, thanks very much for the comparison with Baikal Lake. I had the honor to be there in 2007 and can share the views of my the Dutch colleagues. For the resorts in the Alps and elsewhere, I think the most simple relation is the more technology there is, the more environmental impacts. So, of course, this is contrary to the modern ski development. Modern ski development means more equipment and more technology. But let's start with something simple, like the ski runs. Nowadays, the ski runs are 100 meters, 200 meters wide, and straight and flat. And if you would have ski runs that are not as large, not as broad, and more meandering, you would have the advantage of accumulating more natural snow and not having as exposed to wind and snow melt. So that is just a simple thing for the ski runs. And then, of course, it would be important to, before you construct a new ski resort, look at the kind of soil, the kind of vegetation that you have there, and think about whether you really want to put a ski run into such an area and at what altitude, because it's very important how high you are, yeah, because the vulnerability increases the higher you go. Yeah? So I would just suggest not to choose to have too much snowmaking infrastructure, because that causes a lot of new problems with erosion, with water supply and so on. Try and find places where you have an independence and where you can use the natural snow and the natural resources. Once you have erosion, like I showed you on the photos, it's very difficult to cure the problem, yeah? Once it is started. So the best thing is try to prevent to get to that stage. So develop a concept of eco-productivity. So a concept of ecological productivity, yeah, where you can combine the summer and the winter. Because in the Alps, nobody wants to go and have their summer holiday in the ski resorts, yeah? The ski resorts are good for 3 months of winter time, and employment is for maybe 3 months or 4 months in winter time. But the rest of the year, the 8 months, many, especially the French resorts, are completely empty. There are no people, no employment in summertime. So it's really very important to try and find a concept where you're not degrading the summer tourism, because in my point of view, in the lower lying areas, the future is summer tourism and not winter tourism. So the winter season will become shorter. So try and find a balance between both, and do not go into a monopoly of winter tourism. Don't try to develop only winter tourism. Try to find thermal activities, spas, just a big diversity of other activities around it. Because if you have tourists coming along and there's no snow available and you cannot produce snow because it's too warm, you have to have an offer so that the tourists stay and are able to do something else at the same time. Yeah. So this would be some suggestions, but I can tell you some more afterwards. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Спасибо большое. А какой-то контакт с Олимпиадой Сочи у вас есть? Потому что сейчас следующий человек после вас будет выступать как раз по снижению. Прилетел сегодня утром в ночь с Петербургской конференции, и там как раз олимпийские люди прилетели, да. И такой основной курорт для горнолыжных дисциплин будет Роза Хутор. И фирма, известная фирма «Скада» и его обеспечивая техникой, поставили 400 пушек. 400 такая запредельная цифра, конечно, да, потому что на многих курортах стоит 2-5, 10, 400 много. И я хотел спросить, у вас есть контакт и обсуждение этих проблем или пока нет? Пока Красной Поляне не до этого, наверное. Это вопрос.
I'm not in contact with the people from Sochi, but I'm in very close contact with FISU, with the university sports. So I'm in contact with China and Turkey on the environmental impact. And they are, you know them probably, they are like the Winter Olympics, but for students, and they take place every 2 years, so they're for university students. If you state the figure of 400 snow cannons, that is of course a lot, but I don't know how long the ski runs are. In our very big resorts in Val Thorens, we have about 370 snow cannons, and the trend is to build more and more so that all the ski runs can be covered with snow. In terms of the economy and amortizing the equipment, it's of course the more snow guns you have, the more expensive the ticket price gets because of the maintenance costs and the water supply, pumping and costs and so on. So I would have to look at your example in detail from Rosna Huta, because I don't know how long the ski runs are.
Спасибо. Я думаю, свяжемся с Сочи позже. Было не успели до обеда. Майнхен. Ага.
our snow is a very light snow. So we had in our test runs, we had between 90 and 210 kilogram per cubic meter. Because we produce a completely different technology, we can save water. It's in the container, so we do not give water into the environment. And this can save us up to 30%. And the energy saved is larger than the amount of water, because we don't need to transfer this water again to the place of snow generation. In principle, you have two types. As we produce in a container, we can do it with environmental cooling, which is the only environmental sound way, or we can put a mantle on it, like a refrigerator, and cool it down. But in this case, it's not resource efficient. So I just refer here to the production without cooling. This shows the laboratory experiments. And here you see two of our researchers. So what they have to do, they had for several months, they were just collecting data, because we are still in the phase of collecting data. What temperature, what humidity will give you what kind of snow quality. And this is for the first time that we can vary snow quality. In the conventional machines, it's impossible to make any difference. It's just the ice what you are producing, and I'm just showing you some more photos from our device. And a lot of it is just, it's high-tech for better water usage. And we have actually patents for this. This is Vienna University of Technology and the Vienna University for Life Sciences. They are holding these patents. And we have a lot of instruments where we collect the data. And we get some, on the microscope, we have some microscopic analysis. And I will show you some photos of the snow crystals we can produce, which are very different from conventional artificial snow. So this is a mixture of the snow we have produced. And the picture, it refers to a certain kind of temperature and at a certain humidity. This is a different temperature, different humidity. And each trial will give you more or less different snowflakes or different groups of snowflakes. And what is now the scientific work, we have to find it out. Mathematicians are working to get this into models. And this is based on this, we could produce a software that can be used for snowmaking machines. So there's a lot of evaluation, and so all the snow properties, they are assessed by our researchers. And this is some kind of snow we have produced, which is not under the microscope. What you see here, this is a diagram of Nakaya. Some of you who are interested in snow will know this diagram, because this is quite an old knowledge. This just tells you the snow crystals, or the formation of snow crystals, will depend on temperature and super saturation. And in our case, maybe we have a light on it. We are interested in the brown circles, and this is dendrites. And you see you have certain windows or certain pairs of temperature and humidity that can produce dendrites. And based on the outside temperature and the outside conditions, we can produce these dendrites. And here is also the explanations why the artificial snow, which you find today on the ski piste, why it is very close to ice, because this is the yellow circle. This is the production range of the snow we find today on the ski piste. I would like to go a little bit into snow metamorphosis. So of course it takes quite some time before you have a developed snow depth. So you need cold environment temperature, you need snow that is falling on frozen ground, otherwise it will melt away. Snowflakes accumulate to a snow layer, and the first snow layer gets a second snow layer, and so on, and thereby a snow cover is developed. But even if you have established snow depths, then you have a metamorphosis, because if you have warm events, then sun is shining on the top, then some of the snow will melt, it will freeze again to ice, and based on this, it's a known science just to analyze the different kinds of snow layers. In general, you can say what is done, that the volume of air is reduced in snow cover. So snow cover, there is just three states of water you find simultaneously together. This is air, water vapor, and ice. And the older the snow depths get, the more the content is in ice. So you find also, so the snow can be as light as 40 kilograms per cubic meters, and the final stage of the snow metamorphosis is either ending up with ice in some glaciers, which is 900 kilo per cubic meters, or ending up as water, which is approximately 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter. And somewhere in between there is our snow. Again, this is our light, fluffy snow. In the Digi snow, we have considerably more air included. And this reflects just at the beginning, like it is produced in a cloud. And afterwards, it will, only very, very long afterwards, it will go to the state of what is now on the ski piste. So this is from colleagues from the SLF, from the Snow and Avalanche Institute in Davos in Switzerland. So this is just a photo of ordinary artificial snow, like you find it in most of the alpine ski pistes. And you have higher shares in ice and water and the lower share in air, and you have some round particles of ice. And it's an intermediate state of powder snow and ice. If you are interested to know more about this topic, so I recommend you to download a UNESCO publication, Seasonal Snow on the Ground. You can just Google it, or you can use my link beneath, and you can get much deeper into snow science if you're really interested. But in general, I just tell you it's a rather complex field, and you have to consider a lot of factors, but by doing this kind of research, we expect to get a better and a more environmental friendly product. Better in the sense of quality, because, you know, when we are producing for the market, the ski areas in Austria are primarily interested in snow quality. Of course, environmental aspects are very much appreciated, but for most ski areas, it also depends. We would like to sell more because we have this kind of snow. And we find some new applications for ski areas. So we have some partners, some ski areas as partners, and the idea is that we test together with them, and later on they are the first ones they can offer these new kinds of products. First of all, our snow is light. That means we can, the safety can be increased, because what Carmen told about the new landscape for ski pistes, you know, a ski piste has to prepare, if it's 100 meter depths, it has to be prepared up to 100 meters. But in this case, the most dangerous places, we can put particular packages of light snow. And another thing is, of course, deep snow. So to go downhill skiing in powder snow, like you see it here, it's kind of special product, or at least some ski area expect this to be a special product. Similar to what you had, I mean, what came into existence in Austria. This is a kind of freestyle snow parks. This is a rather recent development. So 10 years ago, you hardly found a snow park, but nowadays all large ski areas, additionally to the traditional runs, they offer also this kind of snow parks where you can make artistic movements. And safety, of course. You know, nowadays you have helmet duty, so because there were so many accidents, and this is also because snow is melting earlier, and you very often you are not going on snow, you are going on ice. And this can be very dangerous. On the other hand, you would have, Austria is winter tourism, is mass tourism, and you would like to have as many people as possible because this gives you enough income. So I will just give you here an overview of 344 ski areas which are registered in this site, Bergfacts. Out of these 344, you find 254 large areas, also which are cable car companies, also which have to report in a specific way. So 254 large areas. And you will find very different environment conditions in Austria. Just to give you an idea, Austria gets 4% of GDP directly from winter tourism. That means it's almost twice as much as income in agriculture and forestry. And this is, of course, this is in the world, it's number one. No country has this in economic importance in skiing and winter tourism. Thanks also to Russian clients, because Russian clients is one of the strongest growing groups of Austrian tourists, and of course they come because of the price. There has to be a relatively cheap price for what you can expect as a product. But here you see also the problem, because when you go to this column, I don't know if I can light. Yeah. Yes, you see here. This is the most common area, and you see this is most of the terrain in Austria. This is lying under 1,000 meters altitude, and only 6% of the area is above 1,200 meters, and less than 1% of the area of the country area is higher than 2,800 meters altitude. And this tells us what Carmen just told you before about the lower lying small ski areas. So you really have a problem that they can survive in future because of changed environment conditions or the cost of snowmaking. Because I don't know if you know it, but in Austria, you pay from €2 per cubic meter to €7 per cubic meter for 1 cubic meter of snow. So it's really very expensive to produce it. But in Austria, the system is like this. You have a mixture. The ski areas are usually privately owned, but under the private owners, there is also the municipalities. So it's a kind of mixture. And of course, the municipalities are interested that these kind of ski companies are going well. And the problem what you have in a very small area, you have a lot of ski areas, so you have a lot of competition. And this competition is, of course, not healthy for ski areas, but it's very good for skiers. I mean, because you find relatively inexpensive prices as compared to other regions. I will give you some examples outside from Austria. Snow is attractive, and everything which is connected with snow, it gets increased attendance. If you consider just polar tourism as a different field, it's the strongest form it's the strongest growing form of tourism with 25% annual increase. And snow innovations are likely to become more frequent, because the less frequent the product is, the natural snow is, and people would like, and it's requested, the higher the price is allowed to be for snowmaking. And the quality of the snow produced by our kind of technology can make more applications feasible that were not possible previously. I will just give you some established examples. We have a partner university, this is Luleå University in northern Sweden, and they are consultants to the ice hotel. Maybe some of you know, this was 20 years ago. They developed the ice hotel, and this means 6,000 square meters of you can say of an igloo kind of hotel structure. And this is also produced with, first of all, with ice cubes, but also with artificial snow. So the color and the mixture of color, this is made of different snow qualities. And of course, if you can define what is the density of the snow, you can have many more aspects. This is artists are working, you know, the snow sculptures which you see outside. So of course, if you can request a certain snow quality, you can simply produce more. This is a Swedish patent, so they can do it very fast. So they just make a balloon, they build it up, and I think with less than 3 hours, they can build really a large house. And I mean, they're really specialists now in producing fast igloos. And this was taken from Sweden, from a colleague from Luleå University. And this is an instrument, this is an organ completely made of ice, or actually snow. He mixes snow and ice, and he produced such an organ or other ice instrument. So just to tell you what you can do with snow. And we make a move. This is Canada, and what they do in Canada, it was last February. It was a very, very warm period in Ontario, and they made snow on a reserve. So they had the 25-meter snow depth, and with the DG and with our kind of snow, we can produce a very light snow. And this, when you have a warm temperature, this can protect also not only the artificial snow cover, but in principle you can even protect glaciers with such a kind of snow, with this kind of albedo. Another application, this is ski domes. This is Shenzhen area. This is near Hong Kong, also a special economic zone. And for attraction, they just built environment like you find it here. So for kids, it's a great attraction just to touch snow, because they have never seen snow, so they are ready to pay some 20 euros just to come in for 1 or 2 hours and to touch snow. Maybe ridiculous for you here, because you're all used to snow environment, but not in southern China, where this is very prestigious. And of course, there is a production of a ski dome in of course, applications could increase if you do not have only this ice, or you can also vary in different snow densities. Snow sculptures from China, and with this I would just like to close. And we would be interested in finding also some cooperation partners in actually all over the world, because we think it's important to develop this kind of technology, and we can at least make it, I mean, the principal problem of snowmaking we cannot solve with this, or of climate change, but at least the time we can use to react against problems like climate change, it becomes much, much larger, and we think this should be promoted. And I would like to thank you for listening, and also our sponsor. This was the Austrian Climate and Energy Fund, or Austrian Climate Research Program, for sponsoring our project. Thank you for listening.
Одну секунду буквально. Был такой рисуночек, а установки фотографии не видно было. Нет, просто посмотреть, какая установка живьем. Или она не сделана.
Actually, that was a thing, as it is protected. I asked for it. I wanted to show it to you, but this, as it's not my invention, it's owned by universities. They would like to have a disclosure as it's high-tech development, so that the universities ask, before we show it to somebody, to have a non-disclosure